throw or a sidearm throw, where the ball will come at you right about here, from about here up. Now, if it's from essentially the chest down, what you're going to do is collect in a contoured M. See the M? Contoured M, and as you collect it, bring it in and put it away. So anything essentially from the knees to the chest, that's how you take it in. Chest and up, what you're going to try to do is do a contoured W with your hands like this. The contour, you take it in like this and pull it in. The idea is not so much to catch a hardly struck ball out here, but to bring it in and collect it against your chest. So you're slowing it down as it's coming in and absorbing the force. If you try to catch a really hard kick ball out here, the chances are you won't be able to hang on to it, it'll pop loose. All right, so that's not optimal. It's to slow it down and bring it up against your chest. That's what we're trying to do with that. So let's throw the ball across the way. This may be a little bit aggressive for him. So watch this. So
who's going to cover when you punch versus
you're going to be
punch?
All right, you got it. All right, so let's do that now, please, folks. Toss it to your partner across the way. Okay. Now go ahead and do that, and I'll have everybody watch that, and I'll say one other thing. Now, when this method of distribution goes in, so if I'm going to do it this way, the ball is coming with a slight arc and usually with a fair amount of speed. So think about someone who's going to be receiving this ball. For the bowls ball, very easy to control with one foot, pass with an X. Really easy to control. If you're going to throw it and it may bounce, then we have to think a little bit more about how it is that we're going to throw it to a teammate. So if I can have you in that striped shirt, why don't you get about 20 yards deep here? So keep backing up. I'll throw each of you a different ball, so you'll get the first one, all right? So one thing you can do when you throw it like this is you can spin it down so that by the time it gets to, no, makes one. You're my teammate, you're receiving.
Oh, gotcha.
So the idea here is to give them some idea what it looks like. So if I throw it to you, right? See, I can have him stop like that, or what I could do is if I threw it slightly inside of him, is to throw it to space he can run into. So now I'm going to throw into you. Throw it. So all you do is turn and go with it. So I will say, turn! And then he's right on the ball and he just continues down the field. So the idea is to find someone who's open that you can do that to. And ideally, if you tell your team in your warm-up to a game-like situation, where do I want my number 2 and 3 players to be? I want them on the touch line. My 4 or 5 players can be inside. And I'm sure all of you know the numbering system, right? So you know what I'm talking about. So the idea is, if he's out there on the line, if I throw it, so if he's on the white line, and I throw it to the blue line, real easy for him to turn and go with. That's the kind of shot I'm looking for, all right? So, I didn't watch how everybody was collecting here, so I'm going to come back and make sure everybody's collecting correctly.
It was brilliant.
Brilliant! I like that. In fact, you know, if he says it's brilliant, he knows what he's doing. He's not only a keeper, but he's a great coach. So, everybody did it pretty well? You liked it? All right, we're good with that. So let me go to the next throw. Everybody now back up about 5 yards. So if everybody backs up 5 yards, now we got a wider circle. Now we're going to work with a sling throw. All right. So again, I'd like the coach to go down there, and I'll show you what a sling throw looks like. So sling throw, basically what you're doing is you're going over the top and trying to get greater distance. So if I'm good with this, all right, I can get it to him in a farther distance relatively accurately, and he can maintain possession of it. Turn and go with it. All right. Now look, I threw that from inside the 6. He's on that red line when he receives it. So if I'm out at the edge of the penalty area, am I hitting the halfway line? Yeah. Not a bad restart. That's the first one I threw, so my arm's not even warmed up yet. The really good keepers can hit 10 or 15 yards on or across the halfway line with accuracy. Pretty hard to do with a punt, but with a good throw, you can do that. So again, one of the things you do when you select a group of keepers is look for a keeper who can do those kinds of restarts. It can be really helpful. All right, so let's do a couple of sling throws, folks. Let's see how you do. Now the key thing here is, whoops, I'm not sure what that was. Another one. Yes. All right, so you notice the keeper should move into the line of flight of the ball, right? So they get there first, they maintain eye contact with the ball, and then they catch it, and they're contoured. If it's high, contoured W, and then bring it down, or if it's low, here. Now what I'd like to see is that more often than not, when a keeper is doing a high lofted ball, they're going up in the air and getting it like this. All right. So what I like to do is bring it in a little bit. Bring it in about 5 yards, folks, so you can do this accurately. What I want you to do is throw a high ball to your player, and I want your teammate to go up, jump and get it, catch it in the air, and then bring it down. So try to get it about that high, so they have to go up in the air to get it.
Nice
Go off.
Come on, Superman.
Off a little bit more. Now go up again. And go up and catch it like this. If you catch it below your head,
He can't jump.
what does it mean?
Get it inside.
Someone could have headed it, right? So you gotta get your hands up. You gotta go up as high as you can, and that knee is elevated, so that I'm not gonna have someone put their head right in my solar plexus or underneath my chin, because that can happen. I've had it happen. Not with my chin, but with my solar plexus. I've heard of it happening with people's chins.
Slide a credit
break
card
all their
underneath
teeth
him
out.
when he jumps.
Not a good thing. So make sure we train that. All right, so what I can see is all of my keepers here need to remember to go up when you get it. So yeah, there we go. That's the idea. That's the idea. All right. So we'll work on those. There we go. All
Nice
right,
work,
get up a
Joe.
little higher. Get some elevation here. Get that knee
Nice
up.
jump, Barkley.
All right. So we've done a variety of forms of reception and distribution. I haven't talked about punts. I'll just do a real quick couple of what I prefer in a punt. Generally in a punt, what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to do this with kicking with my left foot. So you can see, if I go across my body with the ball, if I have the ball here, in order to get an opening of the hip, it's going to be very difficult for me to use my left leg if it's in my left hand. If it's across my body, you can just see my hip can open up. So when I take it and drop it, boom. Very, very straightforward. With my laces, it's out there. All right? That's even reasonably accurate. I'll stop there so I'm not embarrassed. Not a bad thing. On a field like this, you can actually do a drop kick where the ball hits the ground. As it comes up, you hit it, right? The nice thing about that kind of a ball is it tends to stay lower and has a little more distance. On a windy day, that's a little better. Most punts tend to go up, which can be difficult on a windy day, they blow back. So if you're gonna punt, think about those things. And again, if we're working with higher level players, 14s, 16s, 19s, they can do these things. So on a field like this, all those things are possible, right? And if you are playing on good fields, train that. If you're not playing on good fields, which often is the case, drop kicks generally are not something I want to train. Because I don't want my kids doing it, because 9 times out of 10 it'll go cattywampus and won't get where it needs to go. All right. And again, I'm only using that punt or that kick occasionally when I need to make sure that the opponents respect it and move back. Give myself a little bit more room here. All right. So I've talked about reception, we've talked about distribution. Now let's talk about a couple other things, and then we'll get them in front of the goal and we'll start working on how they're going to actually operate in front of the goal. All right, so players that volunteered to help out, my keepers, thank you very much. I'm going to call you guys back later on when we're shooting them. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about how we're going to collect a ball that's on the ground by going on the ground to get it. So the first thing I do when I do this, so keepers don't disappear. So, and I want you to watch what I'm going to do here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide on this ball. I start instructing this with a stationary ball, and all my keepers will dive on stationary balls so they get used to sliding into it. Before I do it with the ball, I dribble into them and then jump over them. Right? So, on a ball that's stationary, I'm going to slide into it. Believe what I should do is why don't you want to slide into it here?
Sure.
Yeah, you know what? You should probably.
Well,
It's turf, you do.
it's whether you
turf,
think.
you do.
Here, protect yourself.
All right.
All right. And then based on what I see her do, I will discuss it, either demonstrate it, or if she does it
Don't need no
perfectly, I
turf
won't need to
burn.
demonstrate.
I'm so tired of turf.
See, that just saves me from diving in the ground.
Let's have that on Tuesday.
There you go. All right. So have you ever slid on a ball before?
Not as a keeper.
Oh, okay. All right. Then I'll demonstrate the first one. All right. So ball's there. All right. So you see when I'm coming in, right? I come with one hand high, one hand out. What's first? Shin guards, not cleats. Shin guards. I have seen people train this, right? Even AYSO coaches in section meetings. That's a send-off. You catch somebody with your cleats up like that, you're going to get sent off, or you should be, because you're actually hurting people. That's not going to hurt anybody except to trip them, and you've got the ball in your hands at this point in time. You're protected. The whole point here is slide with protection and ability to keep the ball, get the ball. The reason for the hand up is they start to chip you. You can at least knock it up or deflect it. The hand out here is in case the ball goes wide. The ball's going to slide into my stomach. I'll do this. I'm protected. My shin guards are up. They're not going to hurt me. My face is back. That's how I want you to slide, right? Maintain possession, get the ball, don't get hurt. All right, so that's when I want to slide. Can you demonstrate?
Okay.
All right, nice effort. Start your slide a little bit earlier so you actually
Okay.
slide into it. And you have to actually accelerate into it, because if you don't slide with velocity, you'll stop on grass like this.
Yeah.
The most fun to teach this, so if I had access to the field and I had the choice and I had water, I would wet this down and we do it on a wet field. Because then you slip really easy and you get the feel for it, and then it makes more sense. When you're doing this, you really have to run hard, because there's a lot of friction on this, and that's why she's wearing pants. Because if she's not, she's going to tear skin off, and you will tear skin off. All right, let's try it again, one more time.
Okay.
Slide a little earlier. All right, a little earlier still, because you're starting your slide right about here. I'm going to start your slide right about here, so you're
Okay.
sliding into it. All right. All right. But before she does that, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have all the coaches that have gloves on. Oh, you don't want to do this without stuff on. Yeah. Okay. You're not going to do this right now, because you've got too much flesh exposed. You're going to rip it up, and I'm not going to have you do that. What I'm going to do is have.
He's got dress coded.
I'll explain this step so it makes sense.
You need to go home
All
and
right,
change.
so if I've got 4 of my goalkeepers or more, so if I've got a real training session with keepers, I may have 6 keepers, which is awesome. I've got 6 balls out like this, and what I have them doing is doing a keeper dance. Now, what's the keeper stance? Show me a keeper stance. Let's see if we like it. All right, that's close. Just show me a keeper stance. All right, what do I, now, show everybody else here so they can see it.
I'm just trying to impress you, coach.
All right, you notice he has keeper pants on? It's because he's not a fool.
Well,
Right. Now you notice he's got his
He was
I got
told
a
to wear
conclusion
them.
I draw.
Well, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. All right, so
Jeff,
he's
do
got
the
his
keeper
knees
dance.
bent, a little bit of one foot
The
before the other,
keeper dance,
hands to the
yeah,
side
yeah.
and down, right? Sometimes in your manuals you will see the hands up here. If you ever watch a high-level keeper, they're not running around with their hands up, they're running around like this. It's harder to go down than it is to spring up, right? Because to go down, gravity's got to pull you. Your muscles can't pull you down. You can drop down, gravity's pulling you down. But you can spring up, which means you're beating gravity for a little bit of time. So you can go up faster, you can go down. So what you don't want to do is to let the ball go underneath you. So you come out like this, right? I'm presenting wide target, hands low. I'm forcing you to think, I got to kick it high, right? As he kicks it high, can you kick it under the goal? Nope. But you can kick it over the goal.
Right.
How many times do your kids miss on the 6? How many times are you going to miss in today's game on the 6?
Plenty.
Probably too many. And we're going to video it because we're going to show it to your teams. It's a good thing. All right. So what I've got is my keepers doing their little dance between the balls. I'm going to slap a ball, and then they're going to dive on a ball. Right? And the idea being is every keeper has to jump on a ball, however far close it is. Because they may be in the middle here. They got to find a ball to go for. 2 may fight for a ball. So if I got 6 keepers, I let them do this about 3 times. Then I knock one of the balls away while they're focusing on the field. And now they've got 1 ball down. They're going to have to fight for the balls. It's like musical chairs, only with balls. Really fun to do. Keepers get amped on it. It's just a fun little activity to get them to dive. To get them to dive. Go for the ball. Get it with their hands. All right? Make sense? Any questions on that part? So then I go from stationary ball to a moving ball. So I'll now tap it towards Jeff. He'll do a slide on a moving ball. Of course, he's not ready to do that just yet, but we'll do it again. So, and actually, he's going to hate me for this because he doesn't really want to dive. So I'm going to tap him the ball and have him slide on it. All right? There we go. Woo! All right. Good job. I'm going to tap the ball and have you slide on it. Ready, set, and go. All right. Good work. So what I want to build to, is I'm going to actually then, after I've done that a couple of times, I'm going to dribble at him. Come on. Okay, we'll do it. That's all right, I know. Sorry. My players do that too. So, I'm going to dribble at them. Jeff, I'm coming at you. And he's going to come and get the ball kind of off my feet, and then I'm going to jump over him. Let's move out just a little bit because I don't want to accidentally run into somebody here.
Collateral damage.
All right, so here we go.
Keeper!
All right, I want to get them used to that because they're going to have to do that in a game. Right, so I'm going to come at them a bunch of times. I'm going to jump over, make it, I'm going to gradually build that up so they get comfortable kicking off somebody's feet and get the timing of that down. All right. And again, we're not going to belabor that today because I don't want to beat him up. I know he's ready, but I really don't want to hurt him. This is a tough one. All right. So what we've done now is get them used to sliding. What we haven't talked about yet is collapsed dive. So let's do a real quick demonstration of how we build collapsed dive up. So if I can have both of you out real quick. And let's see. It's coming that way. So if one of you sits right here facing that way, the other of you sits right about here facing that way, that'd be great. Sit down and face me. I'm going to be out that way. Just sit to start with.
A long way for me to come back up. You're aware of that, right?
I know. So what we're going to do here is I'm first going to toss them a couple of balls. They're going to catch them in their contour W's and they're going to throw them back to me. All right? Nice collection. All right, make sure you put it away. Put it away. All right, I'm going to go back and forth a couple of times. I'm getting just used to that. I'm going to throw a little higher now. They can stretch a little bit. All right. All right, and then, okay, set. Great. So what did you see him just do? He caught it back here. He's using his stomach muscles. What is that? Core strength. This is a core strength activity, but at the same time, it incorporates all things I want in my keeper. My keeper, ideally, should be the most fit person in the field. And let me ask you the question. In the days when Hope Solo was keeper, who would you want to tangle with on the team? Not Hope Solo. She'd be, I mean, maybe Abby Womp. I don't know who's tougher. That'd be a real match. I'm not going to fight them. They take me because they're strong. Howard, ripped. You don't want to mess with keeper. They should be strong. This is part of strengthening. Also part of using their hands. Also part of getting them ready to do a collapse dive. So they're used to this now. Comfortable in position. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to toss it to the side. As it's tossed to the side, so what I'm going to do is I'm facing them. You come over here real quickly. I want you to walk the ball.